Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? Yes, my name is Kent, and the channel is Bitcoin Artificial Intelligence. And what I want to talk about tonight is I want to talk about artificial intelligence. And I'll be talking about it quite a bit on this channel. And I want to tell you right now that if somebody were to ask you what the most important news or the most important thing in our world today, I guarantee you very few people would say artificial intelligence. But I will tell you right now, it is the biggest story, the biggest news, the biggest thing in the world today is artificial intelligence. There's a lot of stuff out there to draw people's attention away to other things. Like in the United States of America, we got an election coming up here in a little over a year. And you've got all the politics going back and forth. You got Joe Biden, you've got Donald Trump, you've got Donald Trump's indictments, you got Joe Biden and all his corruption. That is drawing people's attention away from what is really important. And what's really important is the very near future, and the very near future is a world completely different than the world we're living in today. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you a few examples about the world that we're going to be living in here very soon. Recently, there was the third largest trucking company here in the United States called Yellow Trucking. They just went bankrupt. 100-year-old company, 30,000 employees, and they just declared Chapter 7 bankruptcy, closed the doors, locked the doors, told everybody that they don't have a job anymore. I don't know what's going to happen with the pensions, but just vanished off the face of the map. 100-year-old company, 30,000 employees, one of the largest trucking companies in the world, in the country, in the United States at least, gone, disintegrated, vanished, evaporated, never to be heard from again. Now, if you listen to the people from Yellow Trucking, they're blaming the Teamsters, the union. The union couldn't negotiate, couldn't do anything with them. They wouldn't give on contracts, so on and so forth. And it just they're mad about it. But if you listen to the truckers, they're going about the management. Management mismanaged this company. This company been mismanaged for years and years and years, and we would have a company today if we had better management, and it goes back and forth. So one blames the other, and the other one blames the other one. So management blames the employees blame the management. There's another thing, and I'm going to tell you, this is bound to happen, likely to happen, that you're going to see companies like Amazon possibly go bankrupt in the next few years. And the reason I say that they're going to go bankrupt is because they're going to do exactly, AI is going to do exactly to them what they did to all the big box retailers like Kmart, Walmart, and all these other people. They were able to just go online, cut costs, make things easy. The darling of the pandemic, Amazon, could be out of business in a few years, and I'll tell you why. Why is because they got the same problem as Yellow Trucking Company. Maybe not quite, they have a better business model, better business way of doing business, but they're in the same static snapshot in time that Yellow was. Yellow could not afford to pay the employees what they needed to pay to continue to work. They were locked into these legacy contracts and they couldn't do anything about it. Amazon is basically in the same thing. They have a static website that hasn't changed for years. It doesn't necessarily show the products as well as you can today with artificial intelligence. You know, you can take a product with artificial intelligence, a web builder with artificial intelligence, do a video with artificial intelligence. You can just display the product so much better than what Amazon does. But do you think Amazon's going to be able to keep up with all this AI technology that's at the fingertips of every human being now that can type in a prompt into ChatGPT? No, they can't keep up with that. And not only is Amazon unable to keep up with their interface, make their platform look better and have the products display better and all the other good stuff, they're not going to be able to keep up with their employees and all the legacy they have, all the endless contracts, employee contracts, 401ks that they're funding, all this stuff that they have on their shoulders right now that they can't get out of. All that stuff's just going to drag them down, just like Yellow Truck. Yellow Truck got dragged down by all the costs that fixed the things that they were locked into that period in time, and they were not locked into doing the business the way they were doing it, and there was no way they could adapt to what was happening in today's real world. Amazon is exactly the same as Yellow Trucking. They're locked into a space and time, and they cannot get out of it. They're locked into what the technology was at the time they took off and they grew. Now you know they have layers and layers of management. They have an entrenched idea of what they're doing. They have a website that has probably a certain amount of ways it's got to be done, and if it's not done that way, it just gets kicked out. And you know, there's no way to incorporate all these fast moving technologies like artificial intelligence and all the things you can do into a company as large and has as many things, as many moving parts as a company like Amazon. So I literally am saying that you could literally see companies like Amazon, the darling of the pandemic, go out of business in the next few years, just like Yellow Trucking went out of business. And it's all going to be because of AI. So AI is going to make the whole world different. Jobs are going to be different. The way we interact is going to be different. I think that really it's going to be deflationary, which means products are going to come down in price. So how do you think they're going to replace those 30,000 truckers that just got laid off from Yellow Trucking? Do you think they're going to go out and hire another 30,000? Possibly, but they're not going to pay them very well. And that's just a stopgap measure until they get the artificial intelligent trucks go up and running, and the trucks that are driverless are going to be driving, and they're going to be delivering this product, and they don't ever get tired. They don't have a Teamster union that they need to deal with. They don't have the problems. They don't have sick days. They don't have all the things that go on that you have to have with an employee. So the biggest liability a company has today in this world is their employees. The employee is going to be the liability of the company. And a company like Amazon that has an enormous amount of employees, that's just nothing but a huge, a huge burden for them. And in the world of AI, employees are going to be a negative for companies. And the companies that are locked in to having employees on the payroll and keeping them around and paying them and having all the cost of having an employee is just going to be a huge negative. It's going to drag them down to the point that they can't compete anymore. And that's what's going to happen to Amazon, just like what happened to Yellow Truck, and this is what's going to happen to a lot of other companies. You know, companies like Walmart are already finished. I mean, they're looking like they're still competing, but in the real world, they're done. I mean, Amazon wiped them out, and now AI is going to wipe Amazon out, and that's the way it's going to be. And somebody that really wants to sell a product off the Amazon website, they can do a lot better job than Amazon's doing with artificial intelligence. And they can do it much easier and much better, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to see thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that have this technology at their fingertips that are going to just basically take out these big companies. And it's going to be a death by 1,000 cuts, and that's what's going to happen to a company like Amazon. So when did this thing switch over? I mean, artificial intelligence has been around for a while. It's been talked about for 30 or 40 years. But there was a point in time, not too long ago, probably 15, 20 years ago, where we quit teaching the machines, and the machines started learning from each other. So there was a point where a computer programmer would put the information into a machine, tell the machine what to do, and then get a feedback from the machine and then fix it. And then get another feedback and fix it and fix it and fix it until you got a program that didn't have any errors in it, and it runs smoothly. Well, that's not the way it works anymore. The way it works now is that the machine learns from the machine and never needs to have human intervention. That's why 40% of the code on GitHub right now they claim is artificially intelligent created code. And that's why you can go on ChatGPT and get all the code you want to get by just typing a simple prompt. And the thing about the machines is they speak in ways that we can't. I mean, they're much more efficient in the way they communicate. They communicate in mathematically. They crunch numbers. We have to use this speech, this what we call our English language, which is very flawed, or whatever language, Spanish, French, German, whatever language you want to learn. They all have flaws, and they all have problems expressing things that need to be precise and precision, and we can't do it. We just don't do it. We don't do that very well. The machines do it really well. So there's just no way that in the future that this technology is not just going to progress to the point where it just takes over a vast amount of what's going on in the world today. I mean, a lot of these people that know a lot about this are trying to tell people this, but nobody's listening because they're too entrenched in, you know, the other things that they want to hear. They want to hear about what's going on with the politics. They want to hear what's going on with the weather. They want to hear what's going on with crime. They want to hear what's going on with crooked, lying politicians. They don't want to hear about what's happening in the AI, artificial intelligence world. So if you're not paying attention to this world, it's going to hit you like it's going to blindside you, and you're not even going to know it hit you. And that's what's happening to like the people at Yellow Truck. I mean, not that AI took out Yellow Trucking, but you could see that this is the kind of thing that's happening in the world today. Like I say, it's going to be probably deflationary for a while. It's probably going to, so if you got yellow truck, they go out of business, they get autonomous trucks driving the freight around, that's going to cheapen the freight down. So prices will probably go down. So all these people that think the US dollar is just going to go away anytime soon, I would strongly disagree, because I think that this whole artificial intelligence is going to make things a lot cheaper. The only problem is that's just going to let the government print more money, because as things become cheaper, it's just going to allow them to continue to increase and inflate the money. So, but I do think it's going to be a digital dollar. And then I do think there will be problems in the future, but I don't think they're going to be as soon as people think they are, because the thing is, every time you have a technology, it decreases the cost of things. It makes things cheaper to the consumer, to the people. So the consumer benefits by things coming down in price, but the problem is the consumer loses the job in the meantime. So probably what's going to happen is the difference is going to be made up by a UBI, universal basic income. The government will come in and get everybody a certain amount of money to live on, and that's going to be the difference between the deflationary money that we save by getting stuff delivered by autonomous drivers, and not being able to have a job because Yellow Truck and Amazon both went out of business. So this is the world, and this is the biggest news in the world today, and nobody's talking about it. You got a few people talking about this, but very, very few people. And this is what's driving. This is going to drive our economy. It's what's going to drive our jobs. It's what's going to drive people's standard of living. And it's going to drive a lot of things in this world, and people aren't even aware of it. They're not even thinking about it. They're not even talking about it. And they're totally going to get blown away by this stuff when it hits them. And it's going to be hitting here pretty quick. Like I said, it's been around for 10 or 15 years. And of course, it's been kept in a pretty, select number of people. What this thing can do and the use, a guy like Elon Musk has been using artificial intelligence for years. I mean, that's how he's built Tesla. It's going to be used in autonomous driving vehicles. All the feedback they get from all the sensors they have planted all around, everywhere. It's going to tell these drivers or tell these cars where to drive, how to drive, how far to go, and all this other stuff. Everybody thinks a guy like Elon Musk is so smart. Well, he's really smart when he's using AI as his co-pilot, and that's what he's probably been doing for a number of years. But now this is getting out to people. The release of ChatGPT 4, now everyday ordinary people are using it. They're generating content. They're able to do things they could never do before. They're programming. They're building stuff. Build apps, build websites. Create content. It's an incredible tool. And the companies that are set in the old technology won't be able to adapt or keep up. And that's the biggest story in the world today, is artificial intelligence. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.